I'm pretty sure when the Splattershot Nova came out, most people realized that the weapon is terrible and proceeded to never want to touch the weapon again. And I'm also sure that most people, when they saw that Nova was getting a new kit this season, and it has a really weird kit, Ink Mines and Inkjet, it probably was the weapon most people were least excited to try out. Except for H3, nobody cares about that gun. Sorry H3 mains, it's kind of true. But surprisingly, this new Nova kit is actually really fun, and quite a few people actually agree with me that the weapon weirdly enough works. Some even think it's good, which is something I never thought I would say about this weapon. But is it really? Or is it just because a certain special is really good right now? Well, the state of the Annaki Splattershot Nova is actually pretty complicated. Let's talk about it. Now let's get something straight. The main weapon by itself can't fight. The 5-shot splat and the horrid shot RNG, which makes it take even more than 5 shots to splat most of the time, is way too slow compared to almost every other weapon in the game, leaving the main weapon very helpless in pretty much any combat situation. Sure, the weapon has good range, great paint, and decent mobility, but none of this really makes up for the fact that it has terrible killing power, which is a major weakness that holds the weapon back a lot. Of course, you might say this weapon isn't supposed to be used in combat scenarios or 1v1s, it's a support weapon that just paints and supports with chip damage. Yes, I agree. But the inability to stop somebody running at you is a very big negative. However, this changes quite a bit once we look at the kit. If you are able to set up some ink mines and somebody gets hit by the mine, your weapon turns from a 5-shot into a 3-shot, which still isn't great with the shot RNG, but much more serviceable. So the issue of getting run down is actually made up for quite a bit if you can set up ink mines. Alongside this, Nova paints a lot, so it gets its special very quickly. And what do you know, it's one of the best specials in the game right now. Let's talk about Inkjet. Ever since version 3.1.0, Inkjet has been really good. The buffs to its indirect 50 damage radius is quite substantial and makes it very hard to run or hide from Inkjet. Alongside this, the buffed height of the exhaust boost jump is actually super helpful for staying alive in Inkjet. So it can be pretty hard to actually kill Inkjet without a long range weapon or AoE weapon. Basically, Inkjet is able to get very consistent value, either by just getting picks or by forcing everybody to hide. So you can probably see why putting Inkjet on a weapon that can paint really well would be able to get a lot of value out of it. It even makes up a little bit for Nova not being that threatening, because it can become a very big threat pretty quickly. So it works, the weapon kit flows into itself quite well, and it's a pretty fun playstyle. But is it good? Kinda? When it comes to good weapons in Splatoon, if your weapon can't fight and only spams special, historically that's been a pretty big problem, which is the reason the Splattershot Jr., mainly the custom kit, you know, the one with the good special, is very rarely used. The main weapon just isn't that threatening. And even though the weapon outputs a lot of inkjets, which can fight, and even though it can lay down ink mines to protect itself, you know what else outputs an absurd amount of inkjets and can defend itself fine with the main weapon? Doesn't require ink mines? Ballpoint. Yeah, this is the reason why almost nobody at a competitive level will be pushing Nova. Because, well, the best weapon in the game also does what Nova does, but better. It's a classic case of being outclassed. Sure, Nova might get some more inkjets than Ballpoint, a little bit, but Ballpoint can do literally anything, and it has a fizzy bomb. This weapon is dumb. Okay, literally anything is a bit of an exaggeration, but you get my point. But ignoring Ballpoint's existence for a moment, is Nova playable? Well, yeah, the weapon works fine in solo, and inkjet spam, as far as I've been able to tell, is pretty effective. But mark my words, if inkjet ever gets nerfed, which is possible, this weapon will be very bad yet again. But at least it's better and more fun than the vanilla Nova, because you can be a little aggressive, at least. And personally, I like to play Nova over Ballpoint because, well, I'm really bad at Ballpoint, and I'm sure there's other people who can relate with me. But what do you think about the new Nova? I would ask Nova mains for their opinion on the weapon, but I don't think many people would say they main the weapon. But if you have tried it out, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. My name is CATLOAFMAN, and I will see you in the next one.